Hello and welcome. Today, I'm going to be making another transgender related video. And today's topic is on surgery. So, just to be more specific, I did not get any surgery revolving my genitals, but I did have surgery on my chest. And I was about 21. I think I was almost 21, but not 21 quite yet. When I had surgery on my chest, I had started taking testosterone injections when I was 18. So that's about 3 years. And just so you're aware, I had a large, large chest. And it shrunk down 4 sizes just from me taking testosterone. And now, because I'm a small person with elastic skin, I had waited that long, I was allowed to get keyhole surgery, which basically means that they cut around the nipple and they remove your breast tissue from an incision that they made around your nipple. And a lot of people who are born female and are masculinizing their chest, they think, wow, that's awesome. I can get this surgery. Because it means you don't have to have two giant scars right here. And it should mean that you can keep your nipples, right? They're not folding down the skin and stitching it. You should be able to keep them. Well, that doesn't happen in every case. My nipples were apparently not completely even. One was slightly higher than the other. And so my surgeon asked me, he's like, do you want me to try and make them more aligned? Which I should have known better at the time that that's not something you should be doing in one surgery. If you really wanted your nipples to be aligned, you should probably have a second surgery for that, which, I mean, it's all way too complicated for me to even personally understand that, considering how little I researched it. And I did research it. I did know what I was getting into, and I was excited for it. I mean, my chest would get me so much attention, and I was so uncomfortable with everything. I was binding it. I was using this device to literally tighten around my chest and make it so I couldn't even breathe properly. That's not healthy. That should tell you that there is definitely something wrong here. The fact that I felt like I don't want my breasts, this perfectly normal, perfectly functioning organ or bodily thing that allows us to feed our children. That is the point of breasts, is to feed babies. But now it's become this over-sexualized thing to where if you have a breast that shows out, if you are a woman shirtless in public, you get all the wrong kinds of attention from all the wrong kinds of men. I mean, women should be allowed and able to breastfeed their children in public without there being all this issue on it. Now, I just want to go and say that I am still legally speaking a man, meaning my driver's license still says that I am male. And therefore, I am not breaking any guidelines by showing you exactly what that surgery looks like. And so when I tell you that you don't always keep both of your nipples, I mean it. I'm not just saying that. I'm not just on here to cause drama, to get a reaction out of people. I'm here to show you reality. I'm here to show you what actually goes on with things that you don't research, that you don't understand. And you know what? My surgeon was like, oh, I don't know why that happened. That's weird. And just kind of left it like that. He didn't try to offer me any sort of sympathy or any sort of thing to try and make up for it. He was just like, well, uh, uh that kind of sucks. And I mean, I don't know what someone in that industry, when this kind of thing happens, is supposed to do. I understand that, like with surgeries, there's always going to be a chance of something going wrong. And to be honest, I didn't die. I didn't bleed to death. I didn't have any sort of serious injury. In fact, I actually stopped taking my pain meds before he told me I could. I was like, I'm not taking this stuff anymore. I want to drive again. And so you can see that, like, this is what happened with my chest. And you might be wondering, well, like, how is this nipple not there? Like, what exactly happened? After the surgery, my nipple was there, but I peeked under the bandages and saw that this one, is a scary looking nipple, but this one over here was completely black. Just black, meaning there was not blood flow going to it. So my surgeon's like, just leave it be and hope for the best. And so eventually I let it was there for maybe like 3 months. Just this black nipple turning into a scab for 3 months. Until eventually one day it falls off. And it was the biggest scab I have ever seen in my life. My entire nipple was a scab that just fell off. That sounds crazy. It is crazy. It's crazy that, like, I can't breastfeed kids anymore. I never thought I would want kids, but guess what? I do. I do want kids now. And this is something that I have to think about. Because 18-year-old me, 20-year-old me, made permanent choices that altered my body in ways I cannot take back. And now, I cannot breastfeed a child. I can still conceive, I can still give birth, but how am I supposed to feed that baby? How am I supposed to feed that child? If your answer is formula, I wouldn't do that. I would not feed my child formula unless that was a last resort. I mean, I've tasted baby formula. It's like pure sugar. That's not something you should be feeding a baby. We should be feeding our babies with our milk. And I can't do that now. All of my breast tissues have been removed. My milk ducts have been removed. And therefore, when I have kids, what am I going to do? I don't know. But that's something that I have to figure out one day. Now, I'm not making this video so that you all feel bad for me and you all go, oh my gosh, poor Michaela. I'm making this video because I want other people who haven't made the choice to have this surgery, who haven't made the choice to take those injections. I want you to think about what you're doing. Think about the fact that you're going to be a completely different person 5 years from now. 5 years from now, you don't know if you're going to be okay with these choices. You don't know. It is a lot better to decide to change your internal view of your body than it is to alter your body in permanent ways that you cannot take back. I understand what it's like to be suicidal. I understand what it's like to suffer through what is considered mental illness. But you don't get through a mental illness by altering your physical body. A mental illness is in the psyche. It is a mental thing. You must alter your mental state. And it is something that we are all capable of doing. Whether you're a transgender or not, you are capable of altering your mental state. And you don't need to remove the parts of your body that are here to have children. I've known way too many people who have transitioned and are heartbroken that they can't have kids. I'm lucky that I can still have kids. I'm considered one of the lucky ones in this situation. Like, please, please, please do not let children be altering their bodies. At least I was 18 when I made my choice. I was barely a day into being an adult. But a 7-year-old, we're not, nobody can possibly think that letting a 7-year-old decide, like, yeah, I don't want kids, is a good idea. And that's exactly what happens, is if that 7-year-old, 10-year-old, however old they are, just if they start taking hormone blockers that stops them from experiencing their body's natural puberty, if you don't go through that natural puberty, you will never be able to have kids. Not a single person has been able to have kids if they have not gone through puberty. So if you don't allow children to go through their body's natural process, they're not going to be able to have that choice in the future. Which obviously not everybody needs to have kids, but again, somebody who's prepubescent shouldn't be making that decision yet. They should be making that decision when they are an adult. They should be making that decision when they are older. And I just want people to know my story. I want them to know another perspective. I want them to see that I'm not making this shit up. I have scars around my nipple and my non-existent nipple. This isn't something that I'm coming on here to get attention. This isn't something that I'm talking out of turn or whatever. This is my personal, real life story. And I want people to have this perspective so that they can make better choices about what they're doing now and how that now will affect their future. I don't know what I will want in the next 5 years. I don't know who I will be in the next 5 years. But I don't want to make permanent decisions that are going to affect me for the rest of my life, not knowing who I'm going to be in the next 5 years. I get that this decision feels necessary. It feels like I have to do this in order to feel okay in my body. I get how it feels. I've been there, and I know. And when I first had my surgery, I was like, I'm free. It was absolute freedom to be able to walk around with no shirt on. Absolute freedom to be able to not have this massive thing in my way all the time. It was absolute freedom to not be getting whistled at and catcalled as much. I wasn't getting nearly as much unwanted attention. It was nice. And that's part of why I don't 100% regret it. Other than not having kids, this surgery has been great for me. But kids are such a beautiful and wonderful thing that if I could go back in time, I would change my decision. I would make sure that I didn't do that. I mean, you never know what you're going to want 5 years from now. That's really my main message here. Is like, you don't know who you're going to be in the future. Who you are now, just make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're taking care of your mental state. Make sure you're taking care of who you are and loving yourself. However you talk to yourself mentally matters a whole lot more than how big your boobs are. I guarantee it. And if a guy doesn't like you because your breasts are a certain size, well, then why are you with him? We need to understand that we deserve respect. We deserve to be treated with love and care. And the people who don't treat us that way don't have a right to be in our life. We can eliminate them. They don't need to be there. Your breasts are the thing you should keep, not the toxic men who tell you you're not good enough. And I've met so many girls who think, like, oh, I wish my breasts were as big as hers. And then you see the other girls who have big breasts and they go, oh, I wish I didn't have to deal with this. Why can't I just have a normal sized chest? Everybody's going through a different journey and we're all going through different suffering. And yeah, you're perceiving everyone else as having greener grass than your grass. The grass always seems greener on the other side. It always seems better. But to be honest with you, this surgery did not make my life better or worse. My decision to change my mental state is what made my life better. And that is why I'm a lot happier. It doesn't matter how many hormones I've injected in myself. It doesn't matter how many surgeries I've had. What matters is how I perceive myself. And your physical state can look like anything, and you can still love yourself. Your physical body is what it is. And the more we accept it, the less you are going to suffer. Recovering from the surgery was a nightmare. It sucked not being able to reach higher than this for like weeks. It sucked not being able to drive for a week. It sucked like not being able to function and having pain. I still don't have the same sensation in this chest that I used to. I mean, I don't even have a nipple over here. It definitely doesn't feel the way it once did. And again, these are things that you don't really think about. You just think, I need to not be suicidal. I need to not be depressed. I need to feel better about myself and feel better about my body. And I need to change it. I need to change something. And you're right, you do need to change something. You need to change your view. I was just as sure I was transgender as everyone else. I've said this many times now. I've been through it. I know exactly what it feels like. And I was just as brainwashed as everyone else. I was so sure. I was a part of the transgender community. I was so uncomfortable with all these body parts of mine. I was so uncomfortable with just so much, and I was so depressed, and taking these hormones, I was like, yeah, I feel so much better now. But again, as soon as I got off them, as soon as I stopped taking them, oh wait, why am I not depressed? I wasn't depressed because I had changed my life. I had changed my point of view. I didn't need the hormones to do that. And you don't need to go through what I went through to change your perspective. I'm trying to save other people from going through this. You don't need to do it the hard way. You can get a therapist. You can meditate twice a day. You can do hypnotherapy, where you go deep into your memories. There are so many psychological things that you can do to work on your psychology, on your mental perception, on your mental health. You can even take things that increase your dopamine or that help that function of your brain to where you only take that stuff for a little bit, and then now your brain just properly produces the right amount of dopamine. And I did have that problem. I was taking 5-HTP. You can look this up. I did have depression. I did have some sort of mental thing going on in my brain. It wasn't right. We can change our brains chemically. We can change our brains through talking through stuff. We can change things by meditating and going within and really seeing ourselves, not just our physical body, but seeing deeper than that, not just seeing what we identify as, but seeing deeper than that. And you don't need to chop off your breasts to come to this conclusion. You don't. I didn't need to, but it's the path I went down. Now, I hope this helps someone. If this video helps one person, it's worth it. And thank you to everyone who watches. Thank you.